You want to do the introduction and then go poop?
Sure. Do it.
Hey, welcome to HomeBrew. I'm Ben Brock.
And I'm Nate.
See, I just say my whole name.
You said your whole name. It's okay. Hey, people might want to know your whole name.
Yeah, my name
I'm
is
Nate
Ben Brock.
Vanover.
There we go.
It is also confusing. You come in here, Ben. My name's Ben. My name's Ben Brock. My name's Nate. Nate Vanover. It's why so many names, man? It's simple. Ziggy, one name. Dog. Producer. Love treats. Okay, bye.
Vanover.
This is an Our World, Our Rules show, and today we're going to be talking about world building.
Ooh, world building.
And this is world building as a whole. For not world building holes.
We're not world building holes.
This is,
You can if you want to.
it could work.
It could.
This is just world building in general. That's what I meant to
Okay.
say. And for books, stories, games, whatever. Games is the main focal
focus
part.
here. It's kind of like what we do, but
this is our biggest.
But to me, it all goes hand in hand because, like, my brain shut down.
Let's cue the music. All right. So, world building goes hand in hand.
Yeah, it does. Because we'll get into it as the show goes on.
Yeah, we don't want to tell everybody everything all at once.
Yeah. What am I doing?
We got to pace ourselves here.
Jackass. Cue the music.
Cue the music again. I just had a snow cone.
I was playing the music. You were blowing the snow.
Oh man. Okay. Where to begin with world building?
Where to begin?
Yeah.
That's probably the hardest question for anybody that's getting into any kind of writing exercise, whether it be for a tabletop game or, a story or anything. Yeah. We both know how hard it is. What I was going to say earlier, before my brain shut down, was my wife is a writer and she's very much involved right now with building her own world for her story from scratch. Right. Kind of pulling from different things, but the way that the way I've gone about helping her kind of create that world, it's kind of been the same way I do it for any D&D campaign or any tabletop campaign that I create for. So right. it's I think the exercise that we go through, the way we create world, and we're not saying that the way we create it is correct or it's the only way. It's just how me and Ben kind of function when we create worlds for our games.
Yeah. A lot of the world building, first of all, I mean, first when you're going to create a world, it's overwhelming right off the bat. Oh yeah. Because you got a blank piece of paper. There's so many different directions you can go with that.
Right. And even if you've got a solid idea for like what you want that world to be, when you first sit down, it's kind of like, okay, well, I know like I want this to be a vampire world, but what does that mean? What does that mean?
Yeah. Right.
Because there's 900 different ways you could go with making a vampire world.
Oh, yeah.
So it's like, how do you get into that? Where do you find that groove? And
for sure. And there's a lot of resources out there, because I know Tara, she's told us about a lot of different just character creation stuff that's just for books and world building and all that stuff. Yeah. There's a lot of resources out there. For me, I like asking myself why a lot. Right. Not about my life.
No, I do. In general, I ask myself why every morning.
Why am I doing this? But in world building, asking myself why. So I'm going to create a vampire world. What does that look like? That's another one I say a lot too. And then, asking, well, why is that person doing that? Or why does this world look like this? Or why does that? Right. And then kind of coming up with those. And collaboration, I think, is the biggest key. It doesn't matter if you're writing a book or writing a story or writing a game. It doesn't matter. Like collaboration is going to be
100%.
Yeah, it helps. It helps in so many facets. It helps speed it along, and it enriches your product. Right. Because one person can come up with a lot of cool ideas. Two people can expand on that 10 times. Right. The bigger that your collaboration group is.
And it opens your eyes up to more and more facets of things that maybe you couldn't see originally. I always go back to going back to the whole vampire thing, like I was talking about, because that was kind of the last thing that I created as a DM was the vampire one shot that we played a few months back.
Yeah,
and it was like I had a base idea. Was it a year ago? Please don't make me think it was that long ago. It was 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, exactly.
But no, like I had a base idea for what I wanted it to be. There was two, and we can get into this when we talk more about like inspiration, but I had kind of two worlds that I really, really enjoy, and I kind of wanted to mix those together.
Right.
And see what would come up. And then through the collaboration process of helping the four of you build your characters and all that, that's where I was like, the story just kind of took off from there, and the world opened up because I was like, okay, well then this is this and that.
Yeah.
This is how this falls in here then, if that's how they want to play it. And it was stuff I would never have thought of had we not been so open with the collaboration on that end of it.
Yeah. Oh, let's just jump right into inspiration.
Okay.
Pulling inspiration for your world that you're building in, regardless of what it is. That is a huge thing, and I really want to hit on the vampire one because I feel like one, it's the freshest campaign, the freshest world that we've created recently, and then your process behind all that. So one of the things that we've always talked about when we started doing world building and stuff together is shamelessly use your inspiration, everything that you have an interest in, and then if you're playing for a game or if you're writing a book for a certain demographic, whatever it is, you want to play to their interests, otherwise it's going to fall flat. They're not going to get engaged with that. So what does that look like is you have to have that conversation with like-minded people with the same interests and goals and stuff. So with the vampire camp, well, it started off as a one shot, and we're going to say
it definitely it was, but we'll save that up for maybe a later episode when we talk it, because I know we've got ideas for stuff later. But it definitely started off.
Make a campaign.
It started off as a one shot, but every time I do a one shot, and that's more what I was just talking about, the fact that we've kind of got an episode that we are planning to talk about this exact thing later, but I like to build one shots to where they can be a one shot, especially if I'm building a whole new world like this. If I'm world building this whole thing, I like to make it to where we can play it as a one shot. And if we're done after that session, great, good, it's over, dusted, shelve it. But if people enjoyed playing in that world, can we expand it? What does that look like? Right. And so that's kind of how I built that one shot was, it's its own contained thing. Its own contained story. We can play it in a few hours, be done. But then if everybody at the table was like, well, this is awesome and I want to keep going, then we can keep going. Right. So, and that's just part of, that's more a part of game building and not so much world building, but
I mean, it all goes hand in hand. And there's so many facets inside of world building and creating a game and creating a campaign or one shot or whatever, that it's so intertwined that it's hard to pick apart and say this is just this one strand. Right. This is how this one thing works. Right. And I think with the vampire one, like you were pulling inspiration from Castlevania and what was the other?
Bloodborne. So, right. For anybody that plays video games, I'm a big video game guy. I'm a huge Castlevania fan, have been since I was a kid. I love the Netflix Castlevania show. I love all that stuff. So I was kind of wanting to pull that in, but place it in that kind of early 1800s Gothic kind of London setting. Right. Because it's something that they haven't really crossed in Castlevania. So it was kind of like pulling those two worlds together, and what does that look like? Yeah. That was basically my idea originally for the one shot. And then once I gave that to you guys and you started building characters for that campaign, it turned into a lot more than that.
Right. Yeah, and with that, we were using the rules of 5th edition. Yep. And just kind of everything was a guideline. It was Castlevania was a guideline, Bloodborne was a guideline, 5th edition was a guideline. Yep. And then we were saying, okay, so here's some parameters, but we're not beholden to those specifics.
Exactly.
Because what we don't want to, we want to write our own story.
Exactly.
And we want our characters to have their own individual personalities and freedoms and choices, and that actually matters.
Right.
So in that, when you allow your players to do that in your world building process, is like they have a creative freedom that they're creating little pockets of the world that frees you up as a creative, where you don't have to fill in all the details right off the bat. They're helping fill in those details, and you guys get to work around that together. What does that look like? Who did you know? Why does your character do this?
I want the people that I'm like we talk about this all the time, and you'll hear us talk about it on here all the time. D&D, tabletop games in general, to us are a completely collaborative storytelling engagement, and that's how we like to play. It's not about mechanics or anything like. It's about 4 or 5 people getting together at a table and collectively kind of pulling pieces and telling a story.
Yes.
Yeah. And that's how I like to play. So in that, it's I don't want to hinder my collaborators, my players, if I'm the DM, in telling me what their life is. I want to be like, this is the world you live in. Tell me who your character is. Tell me the life they live.
Yes.
And then I'll pull from that as inspiration for where the story goes.
Yeah. I love that. Which that perfectly segues into the next segment, and that is knowing your antagonist.
Yep.
And what does this look like? So once you create your world, once you have this general idea of this is the world I'm playing in, and this is the time frame, I'm pulling from real world, 18th century. Vampires are in it, so you kind of got this gothic, Victorian, Mount Mosh Posh.
Yep.
Pulling from different from Dracula to Castlevania to Bloodborne.
Well, the good thing about pulling from Castlevania, like I did, is Castlevania itself is kind of a modge podge of all of these different stories, kind of put all together in one thing. So you've got, if you just say I'm setting it in the Castlevania world, you immediately have access to all of these things. Frankenstein monsters and ghouls and demonic characters and vampires and all of that. So it's like that part was easy.
Yeah. Well, and that's what's really cool about that was, even though the world was kind of already created for you, by the time we were done collaborating, we did it's like 2 or 3 weeks of collaboration.
Yeah.
And by the time we done that, like it was a totally different. It was our own unique experience.
Yeah, exactly.
And with kind of going along with that, with the antagonist and what does that look like in the world, as a world builder, especially in tabletop gaming, you don't know what the outcome is. You don't know what these players are going to do at your table. You don't know if they're going to help or hinder your story that you wanted to create. So don't write that story in completion, or otherwise you're going to force them into a railroad that they have to go down.
No.
Now there's a time and place for that.
Oh, 100%. There is. And that's why I feel like in the context that we're talking about it, world building becomes so important. Like creating these things, like as you guys were talking, I created like a faction that you guys were part of. Yeah. And gave you guys purpose for why you were exploring this castle that you were going to and stuff. That wasn't necessarily tied directly to what ended up happening, but it was the draw to get you to here. Yeah. And then introduce more characters along the way to help build that world out and stuff like that. So it's use your characters, use your NPCs, use your players, use all of that to build the world up around it and let the world build naturally. I always look at it, comparing it to real life. The world revolves whether you're involved in it or not. Right. So when you sit in a tabletop game, the world is going to feel more real when there's things happening outside of your player's control, and the world is revolving around them, regardless of what their actions are in that moment. For sure.
So, whenever I go into creating the campaign that I was creating, Celador with us, I had like the main antagonist, and that was in the first one shot you guys played. Right. He's mentioned, and he has this overall goal. Right. It's a goal. It's not set in stone. I don't know if he's going to achieve it. Right. And the same thing with every NPC that I created after that was, what is their goal in life?
Right.
And it's literally some of the lower end NPCs that no one seemed interested in. They had a small, this is their agenda. This is their goal.
And how is their goal attached to or against the main goal of the antagonist?
Yeah. Where's their standing at? What's their faction? You know, and it's literally just putting an alignment on them.
Right.
Are they good with what's going on in their kingdom?
Yeah.
Or are they against
it?
You know, and then what does that look like?
Or do they not give a shit one way or the other?
Exactly.
Are they just trying to live their life regardless of the events around them? Yeah.
I'm just here to exist and do my thing.
Right.
That helps a lot. And it's not hard work.
No.
Just putting that, saying this is their alignment.
Right.
This is where they're good or they're bad or they're neutral or whatever. In doing that, it really starts to help flesh things out, flesh out NPCs and interactions and stuff with your characters, and all that stuff. And then when you're running that NPC, it's easier to say, this is how this character is going to, this NPC is going to react, and interact with your players.
Yeah,
and playing off of your players' interests is key.
Yes.
It really is, because if they have zero interest in this one character that you've spent hours and hours creating, this NPC, and they have zero interest in it and they walk away from him, you got to let them walk away.
Yeah, you got to take that L and just kind of walk away.
Yeah. So it's developing them.
People don't like everyone.
He doesn't like you.
I'm sorry.
I don't like you either.
Right. And that's fine.
It is.
That's great.
Yeah.
Force him into... No, don't.
That's great. I love not liking people.
Yeah, it's great. And then there's some of those people that just insert themselves in your life, whether you want them to be there or not.
Yeah. We all know who we're talking about.
Yeah, you know who you are, and we know who they are.
Yeah. And we know that you know that you're that person. So
I don't know if they do.
They might not.
I don't think they do.
No, that's the problem. Is most of them don't know they're that.
They don't realize it. I might be that guy, and I don't realize
I've definitely been that guy.
But yeah, so the people, the places, the things that are in your world.
Yes, all the nouns.
All of the nouns. Those are rootamary.
All
the rootamary nouns.
Rudimentary. I don't think rootamary is a word.
It is now.
Okay. Rootamary.
Rootamary. It's fantasy or rudimentary.
Rudimentary.
Yeah. Rootamary just sounds...
It does.
It sounds invasive, actually. No.
Yeah. It sounds like a name. I'm going to name a character Rootamary.
Yeah, Rootamary and RootaSusan. There's twin sisters, and they are rude.
Very.
Oh, so rude.
They are those people.
They are, yeah. Also, all right, I guess we got to create those characters now.
You want to come see my house full of potions?
So I just shut up, Rootamary. No one ever wants to see your potions.
No one ever wants to see your potions, Rootamary.
RootaSusan over here, she sells flowers.
She's got a house full of them. They smell pretty.
People like smelling pretty. They like things that smell pretty.
Do your potions smell? No, they smell like shit.
They smell like steak. They smell like sadness and depression. Bottled up. And you're trying to give it to people. No one wants to drink that.
No. You gave me one last week. You gave me pink eye.
I haven't stopped shitting for a week. With pink eye. You know how bad that is?
Rootamary is the main antagonist of this.
Yeah. And that's how it's done, folks.
Yep.
That's how it's done. Rootamary.
But that's a good, talking about antagonists and stuff like that, to get back on topic.
Yeah, but way off topic.
Way off topic. If you take those two that we were just talking about, the Celador campaign and then the Castlevania one shot, those had the antagonists were a big part of the stories. They were.
Right.
I mean,
yeah,
they're the main antagonists. They have kind of their point.
Right. It'd be weird.
It would be weird if they weren't involved at all. We're just doing something completely off to the side.
But that guy over there, he hasn't done shit.
He hasn't done nothing.
Fuck
He's
him.
just over there looking evil. I'm not doing anything.
Why am I the antagonist? I just want to go.
But
fishing.
no, that's a good point about how so with the obviously it's a Castlevania inspired story.
Right.
The main antagonist of that one shot was Dracula.
You don't say.
Yeah. I mean, it kind of goes hand in hand.
It'd be weird if it wasn't.
It would be weird if it wasn't.
But it could work if it wasn't.
It could.
But for a one shot.
For a one shot, it worked.
Yeah.
But that it wasn't even though it's like we just made the joke, it's obvious it's Dracula. Yeah. He should be the main antagonist of of that kind of story, but it wasn't obvious until he showed up.
Right.
Because the world that we had built, he was dead. He was gone.
Yeah.
He wasn't there. So there was no real threat of Dracula until Dracula was there.
Right.
Whereas in the Celador campaign that we played in, you know, Quentin, he's
very much there.
He's very much there all the time.
Yeah.
He's kind of always involved.
Yeah.
And it just goes back to pulling inspiration for your antagonist is the same as anything else that you do. You know, I didn't have to build or create a story for my antagonist in that. It's Dracula. It's all there. But Quentin,
he was completely made up. And with him, so with his antagonist story, I had to say, why do people hate him?
Right.
And do people hate him?
Because
it was a split. I would say 3/4 of the kingdom loved Quentin.
Right.
And then there was a quarter of them that was like, this dude's shady.
Well, that just adds that kind of complexity to your antagonist is, I mean, to me, that's the meat and potatoes of an antagonist.
Yes.
That's what you want.
Because if everybody hates him, he's going to get overthrown.
Yeah,
he's going to he's just going to get he's going to get outed real quick.
And the reason he was doing what he was doing, in his mind, he had good intentions behind.
Right. And I think that's very important, is thinking about your antagonists. They don't see themselves as the bad guy. I mean, they have a goal. They're doing
a good villain in a story does not see what they are doing as evil or ill intent.
Yes. There is
I shouldn't say that, because there's plenty of good, just flat out evil bad guys.
Yeah. But still, like having that, I feel like having that kind of, because I wanted him to have depth.
Right.
I wanted him to have a reason. He wasn't just like, I am a dick to be a dick.
Right, exactly.
It's not cool to be a dick.
It's not.
Unless you got a really good reason. Then it's okay.
That's going to be a new graphic on the screen. It's not cool to be a dick, kids.
Unless you got a really good reason.
That'll be in quotation marks underneath it.
Ben
it's going to be real big and shiny across the screen. It's not cool to be a dick, and then across the bottom it'll say, unless you got a good reason.
Then it's okay. So my kids are screwed.
Right.
But yeah, so with him, I wanted him to have some really good depth. I wanted him to have a reason and a backstory that led him down the path that he went down. And it wasn't just an overnight thing. Like, this took years and years and years and years to get to where he was at. And at I almost went down a Star Wars rant, and don't let me do that. So we're not going to do that here.
We will cut off any and all Star Wars rants on the show. We could both go on them, but
yeah, of course. And then you talk about Star Wars for a little bit here. So yeah, skip.
So anyway, what I was saying. Woo, I don't know what happened back there. Woo. Kind of like zoned out. Anyway, so with Quentin, I wanted him to have this, he has an end goal. And where the campaign picks up is he's like 40 years into this, started working towards this goal, and he's really like honed in on the past decade. This is what he's trying to do.
Right.
And no one really knows, like the players don't know what it is. They don't know what his true end goal is, but things in the kingdom have changed, and the elements are feeling a little bit different than what they have, and weird stuff's happening. People are blaming Quentin, and then that's like the quarter of the kingdom is, and then the 3/4 is like Quentin's protecting us from all this stuff, right? The thing is I don't know if Quentin's ever going to get to his end goal.
Yeah.
One, because we haven't played.
I was going to say the way the campaign's going, none of us are going to figure it out.
It's been on a hiatus for a minute because people got jobs and had to go to school, and then all that stuff.
Then we decided to make our own game and start a company. And
if I can't play with my friends, I'm just going to make games.
I'm just going to make games and force people to do things with me.
Yeah. Start my own company, so then we have to play games. But yeah, so with that though, like the players have a chance to either join or oppose or leave the kingdom entirely. They don't even have to stay. They'd be like, this
would be a short campaign.
Yeah.
All your players are like, you know what? This is too much. We're leaving.
Packing our things and we're sailing across the sea. And honestly, that would be fucking cool. I don't want you to do that now because we're pretty invested in it. But, but it's still like, that's something that if that is an option for your players, and they're like, I don't like anything that's going on in this world, and I want to leave.
So that goes back to probably our last point on world building is the people, places, and things that make up that world,
Yes.
and how what the antagonist is doing affects all of those things.
Yes.
And not just the antagonist, but the protagonist too. Your
Everybody,
players at the
all your
table.
players
All
will-
of the
yes.
all of the actions that are taking place in your campaign or in your story affect that world.
For sure.
And
And better.
And some of that isn't obvious from session one or
Right.
from when you sit down and start putting pen to paper to write a novel or a book. I say pen to paper, like a lot of people are writing books and no books
Yeah.
anymore.
Well, let's,
When you
yeah.
hit the keys on
Yeah.
your keyboard. But
Some of us like to be analog, okay?
yeah, I mean, yeah, and some people do plot out stuff like that from the
Yeah.
very beginning. Like my wife and the way she writes, she doesn't. She kind of lets the story unfold,
Mhm.
kind of like we do at the table. She
Yeah.
kind of lets her characters lead her
Yeah.
in her mind to where the story's going, and she writes what comes to her. I think she calls it. She writes. She's a pantser.
Pantser.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's
Yep.
how she describes it. I don't.
Yeah. No,
I
that's
was a
just sounds-
pantser in high school, but
Yeah.
that just meant I pulled down my friend's pants.
Yeah, that's because we're real mature, and that's the first thing that comes. She's like, "I'm a pantser." I'm like, "Well, I'm wearing a belt, so
I've got a belt on, so you can't pants me."
I guess I should wear suspenders too." Jokes on you.
But no, like I feel like, and again, I want to preface this by saying that the way we do things is not. We're not telling you this is the way you have
Right.
to create a successful long-running campaign.
Mhm.
This is just how we do things
Yeah.
and how we go through our process. But I really do feel, especially for me, and I know it's probably the same for you, that when creating a D&D world and stuff, I kind of do the same. I'm kind of a pantser when it comes to. I want the world to develop at the table with
Right.
the people, places,
Yes.
and things as they develop naturally.
Yes, I want to give enough, and this is where we start to differ from books and stories, because you
Right.
have in a books and story you have to write this stuff out.
Exactly.
And in the campaign, you get to loosely write it out, and very much intentional about doing it this way, because I want my players to write the story with me.
Right.
And
It's kind of the way we do this podcast.
yeah,
because
that's exactly how
we
do.
pants the podcast.
We are pantsers on the pod. Well, actually, we're not even wearing pants.
We're not
so
even. Yeah.
We're boxering
Yep.
it up,
It is hot in this studio
which is amazing
because
because
it's cold outside.
Yeah, and I have the heat off in here, but it's
But
warm.
no, like as far as it's the same idea. You're letting the dice and the game kind of determine where the world goes.
Yeah, and I think in doing that with your tabletop games, when you write your story loose enough, you have some hard lines in there.
Yeah.
That are, this is what the past was.
Right.
Those are hard lines. You're
Right.
not going to change
You
that.
can't change it.
Right. And if you introduce time travel to your campaign, you're fucked.
Yeah. Time travel never
do
fixes
that.
anything.
Don't do that. If I'm going to tell anybody to do or don't do anything, that's one that I do not advise.
No.
That's a 1-star review. So
Nope.
there's probably
Time
a good
travel's
way to
only
do
ever
it.
helped one thing, and that was Avengers Endgame. And I still think they could have done it without it. But
Yeah, there's a different way. But that's another thing. We can't talk about MCU on
No,
here.
no.
So
no, I'll talk about MCU. 'Cause I'm not as passionate about MCU as I am about Star Wars.
Oh, that's good. I still don't want to hear it.
No, it's true. We can't talk about Star Trek.
I like Star Trek.
I don't know enough.
Oh yeah. Well then it's just me telling
Yeah,
you
then
stuff
it's
about
just-
it, and then our fact checker coming on here to say you were both
You
wrong.
were both wrong. Neither one of you have watched Star Trek. We can tell. Stop pretending to be nerds.
Oh yeah, that's all this is. It's a front. We're just trying to find friends. It's a front.
This whole thing is just a facade for us
Shit.
to try to find new friends.
We have to go to the internet.
Yes.
I don't remember what I was saying.
I don't either.
Mm.
World building.
The world building, importance of
Do it.
do it.
Build a world. Do it.
I dare you. No, I think just kind of the whole collaboration at the table is huge. And the important thing about that is when you're writing a story that you're like, here's the past, this is hard lines, here's the future, there's goals.
Right.
That's it.
Right.
Everybody has their own goal. This is what
Yeah.
they're trying to reach. What do the players want to do with that information, if anything? And then you're starting to write and fill in all of those details and stuff together. And I've even had, even in Celador, where Jim, he's came in and he was like, hey, what's going on in this little part down on this map that I've drawn out?
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is where the Goliaths are from. He's like, well, what's the story on that? I'm like, I don't know.
We haven't gotten
Because
there yet.
no one's playing a Goliath. No one has any Goliath anything going on. And I knew that that's where the Goliaths came from because I have one NPC that's from that land, and that's where they originated from. And I'm like, I don't know. He's like, oh, I've got some ideas on that. And so having that kind of freedom that your players are like, I want to create a class or a character that would have came from that region. Yeah. And here's my backstory. And then we get to collaborate on expanding on that. There's no sense in Celador's map is the size of freaking England, Scotland, and it's the Britain Islands. Yeah, essentially. And that's attached to the rest of Europe. Right. Like there is no English channel. Yeah. So, but the English Channel is mountains in Celador, essentially, I guess. But so it's a huge land, and it's like I don't have everything written out. I have like vague notes. This is where all of this stuff is from, because it would have been a waste of time at that time. Well, yeah, to come up with all this stuff instead of focusing on actual gameplay. Yeah, exactly. And developing your characters and arch stories. So.
It's kind of like the video game idea of you can have this giant world, but in the beginning, all you can see is the area that you're at. Right. Everything else is just kind of, it's there, but it's covered in that fog of war or whatever. Yeah. And the more you explore, the more you open up that world. Right. So, yeah.
Yeah. So the world building is never ending.
No.
I mean, I don't think I'll ever be done with Celador.
No. And even when the campaign, if we were to continue playing it, well, we're going to continue playing it. It's just when we continue playing it. Yeah. Even if we get all the way through that campaign, that world's still there. Yeah. I always go to Critical Role. Mm-hmm. Not to like call out a way bigger YouTube channel or anything, but
I've never heard of them. Yeah. They sound hideous.
We're a non-existent YouTube channel right now. Yeah. They're like the king of the mountain.
You're right.
But I love how like all their campaigns, they all take place in the same world. It's just different timelines, different stuff like that.
Sorry, I had a stroke there. Time.
Yes. Turned into a sand person.
Yeah. Jesus. Yeah, different timelines is very important. Because I have that in the Celador. Yeah. Where different as the players showed interest in certain things, and I'm like, well, what does that look like? And here's some history on what that that would look like.
A good kind of story to that is the whole story with my sons. Their two characters were from like this thieves guild.
Oh yeah,
that didn't exist. They came up with it all on their own. Yeah, and then it became this kind of huge part of that world because they really liked this idea that they came from this. This is where they kind of grew up, and then you took that information and kind of blew it up into this whole huge part of the story that wasn't even there.
Yeah, I didn't know anything about this until they were talking about it, and they were showing me their character backstories and stuff, and I'm like, well, we're writing that in because that's awesome. Yeah, we would write it in even if it wasn't awesome. But so they created the town, they created the guilds faction, and the Thieves Guild faction, and they created kind of the whole. It was like a Tortuga, if you will, on the coastline and all that stuff. And I'm like, well, let's find a place for that. Right. And then what happened?
What happened to it?
And then because they destroyed it
pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah. So in this huge catastrophe thing. And that was kind of like an unknown.
Yeah, not on purpose either. It was kind of just, it happened.
Yeah, it happened. And they didn't realize what the circumstances was. And so we got to go in there and play around with those details and flesh them out and then reveal them in the game. Yeah. And then they were like, what? That's what happened? Like it was really cool, really cool time to be able to take something that they've invested into. And this is how you get your players to engage in your game.
Yes, 1,000%.
Is you let them create, and then you embellish that, and then
you take it to the next level. Yeah.
And you make it worthwhile, or you make it relevant in the world. Right. There's a meaning for that, and that's and when your players
they freaking love that. They love that it was something that they came up with, and it became this big part of.
It's a huge part
of the story.
Yeah, Coulter's character is like one of the and he didn't start off this way. Like originally when we write, because it was just a one shot. Yeah. And like his character has became like a sought after race that he had like that it was just how he was playing him, and then like how the world was kind of like
he
evolving.
created such a unique character.
Very unique.
He was a dragonborn rogue.
Yes. And he's like, I'm going to be a runt.
Yeah.
But he was like 6 foot tall.
Yeah. So he was a runt dragonborn. So he was a small for a dragonborn, but still a very big
guy.
That liked to sneak around. He was also a white dragonborn, wasn't he?
Silver, yeah.
Silver, yeah.
Yeah, which was that was a whole thing.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun, and that was obscured characters, man.
Yeah.
Like I'm all about it. Now I like to see people figure out what does that look like.
Right.
I'm not gonna ever tell someone no, you can't do that. I'm gonna be like, well, what does that look like?
What does that look like?
Let's
What does
have
it
a
look like if
conversation.
a giant lizard man was sneaking around to stab people?
Yeah. He's silver. He's 6 foot tall.
And he's a dragon.
I'm gonna make him sneaky. Like, well, good luck. You're bedazzled, bud. Like
you shine in the darkness.
Yeah. You are glimmering constantly. Yeah. But it worked.
Yeah.
I mean, how we played around with it and all that stuff. And that's another thing I think with the world building is don't take yourself so serious. And
exactly.
in all of the gaming.
Right.
Don't take yourself so serious. Like there needs to be humor. You need to have that mix of humor and epic storytelling.
Yeah.
That goes hand in hand.
Yeah.
Because if it's epic storytelling the whole time, it's overwhelming.
Exactly.
And if it's humor the whole time, then
it gets drug out and boring. I feel
yes,
like, especially over a long campaign in D&D. If it's all just kind of epic and and over the top and serious, it just kind of gets monotonous at certain points. I feel like you gotta be able to have that levity in there to lighten things up.
Yeah,
every once in a while, the wizard needs to hide under a cloak and turns into a rock.
Spiders. I think a spider climbed up on top of you in that and jumped off. Yeah. That is a teaser for an episode that's coming up right then and there, right there.
Or an episode we already did. Depends on how we.
It depends on how we put it in there, but we have talked about it, and you will either
love it.
You either know what we're talking about, or you're going to hear it. That's not a promise. That's a threat.
It's a guarantee. No, it's a threat.
It's a threat.
That's not a promise. That's a guarantee.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think that pretty much wraps up our world building discussion.
Yeah.
I feel like we got a little bit.
I think we were all over the place.
We're a little bit all over the place, but when are we not all over the place?
This is. I hope you guys can keep up.
Yep. Because this is how every episode's going to be.
It's a roller coaster.
This is how it is up here and up there. So.
Now you know the struggle.
Yeah. So now you understand. This is, as I said before, we do this podcast like we do everything else. We pants it out. We have some little bit of guidelines, little peek behind the curtain. There's guidelines, and then we just talk. And this is the shit that comes out.
This is how we do things.
Yep.
All right.
All right.
Hey, way to look real smart, guys. Just stick your thumbs up. That's a great way to end an episode. Anyway, ignore that. The show's going okay, so we're going to keep making episodes. We'll put another one out next week. Still working on the Treats P.O. box. It'll be ready soon. Okay, see you next week.